When will I ever be satisfied with anything I've ever achieved? Push harder, do more, make the most of yourself, achieve more, become more interesting, learn a new subject. All these things for what? At 22 years old, I often catch myself reflecting on what my 40-year-old self might be thinking about me now. What questions can my 40-year-old self answer for me? Have I really achieved everything that I set out to do at 22? The reality of this question is that we will really never know. We truly will never be satisfied with anything we will ever do. There are things that we can and cannot control about the way that we perceive ourselves. I've been blessed enough to be in a gap year right now and take all the time it needs to reflect on the life I've had before and the life I'm gonna have after. I've dedicated this whole year to a life of self-control and discipline. Although there aren't any grades or exams monitoring how well I'm doing, I oftentimes find myself being the hardest judge. I have the privilege of being able to pursue further education in dentistry, and yet here I am still thinking that I have still not achieved enough. Although it may seem that I have no grasp of gratitude, I've accepted the fact that this is a skill that I will have to eventually learn how to do. I consider myself a high achiever, and oftentimes that can be a great thing, but it can also be really bad. When there's no judge to judge us, we happen to be there to make sure that we can judge ourselves. My reality of happiness is only dictated by what I perceive it to be. I've come to realize that there's no point in trying to chase happiness or a sense of achievement. A huge part of my life in the last 1.5 years has been the integration of fitness into my daily life. My fitness journey for the last 1.5 years has consisted of me continuously growing, getting stronger, getting faster. The association to growth is something that I've become addicted to. The pump I see in my biceps after doing a set is a physique that I always want to achieve the next day. Weightlifting and fitness has really taught me a lot in that way. Chasing for that peak physique is a futile mindset. I'll never be able to achieve it. Now, this is not me giving you a cop-out or an excuse. Rather, it's a sign to try to change your mindset. How can we push to our perceived potential, but not let our happiness hang on the outcomes of our goals alone? Oftentimes, I find myself getting lost in the outcomes of my goals rather than the journey. This year, along with all the other passions that I've been able to pursue, I really immersed myself in books and podcasts about how us humans have evolved and think. I've dedicated myself to learning good habits and understanding the importance of self-control, discipline. Just in this next year coming up, I realized that life will slap me in the face. The test is how I respond to it. I hope to never cease my childlike wonder, to continuously be curious and revisit things that I might have wondered about when I was a child. This whole life thing is not meant to be something that's just played on autopilot. There's ups and downs, and there's also times in which nothing's happening. But how do we stop looking forward and be present with where we are now? How can we and how can I be satisfied with what I've achieved so far and what I'll achieve later in life? How do I make that 40-year-old self of mine be proud of me? Do I continue to say yes, or do I crawl into my hole of comfort? Am I seeking to understand why I feel different from everyone else? Am I understanding why I get caught up in my own thoughts? It's why I find myself on this field, writing about everything that I feel. I think back to when I was 12 years old, sitting on this bench during Little League baseball, thinking that this was the most scariest thing of my life. The very thought of stepping up to a plate was the most frightening thing that I could think of. The same way, 10 years later, I think about all the things that scare me. Thank you so very much for sticking around to watch this video. It really does mean a lot. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks.